This is why the book of Proverbs is one of the books that is considered wisdom books, because they make you learn how to apply knowledge correctly. That's the book of Proverbs. So let me give you a background, and then you will project for me Proverbs chapter 1, the introduction, verse 1 all the way to 7, so that we get deep into this book. Number 1, Proverbs was written by Solomon, and it was written for one purpose. What is it, someone? I've seen you guys reading the book of Proverbs thoroughly, mukichambua. You did not know why it was written. Someone. My sister seemed to have an answer. To teach? To teach, yes, what? Maths, chemistry, physics? To teach? Life and doing life with God. True? That's fair enough. Yes. To correct what? To correct life. To correct one's lifestyle. Fair enough. Yes. Someone else? So both your answers apply, but the main objective is wisdom. If you read the book of Proverbs, wisdom inarepetika a lot. That is one of the key themes of the book of Proverbs. That is why it was written. So I will take us through this, then explain it so that tuweze kuelewa. This is what Solomon anasema. The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. That is the writer. Number 2 anasema, to know wisdom and instruction. That's anasema. 2 means this is the purpose of why Solomon anaandika, for wisdom and instruction. What is wisdom? Because taki tukue theory, nataka, what is wisdom? Jose. What is wisdom? And maybe the lady next to you, what's your name? Nancy. Nas. Like Nas Muhudumu. Muhuguzi. Eh? N-A-S. Oh, Nas. Okay. I know your name, right? What's your name? No. The first name? Helen. Yes, I know your name. It was missing me, Helen. Yes? Eunice. Eunice, you're sisters to Lennon. Helen. Sisters in Christ. Okay. I know you. Yes. I want to call you by names. Sasa ndo niweze. I don't know if there's anyone I don't know. Yes, Joseph. The ability to apply knowledge. There's a story that was told. This is Chuck Smith. Chuck Smith used to say this story. Alisema, a pastor and a PhD holder were playing golf. They were in the golf field playing golf. Mvua ikaanza kunyesha. Turned to the pastor, it's raining. What should we do? Then the pastor slapped him akamwambia, let us run to the shed. So the PhD holder knows, can describe what is happening, but the pastor is the one who told him what to do. So what you are explaining, to apply knowledge correctly and skillfully, that is wisdom. You can know that I'm not supposed to listen to secular music. But what do you do when you are in a matatu that plays secular music and you need to go to town? Wisdom comes. So that is what wisdom is. So, and what is instructions? What is instruction? Nas. Goals. Rules. That are set? That you follow. To a great extent, yes. They are principles that guide our path. So that is instructions, fairly to what he's saying. Dying. Oh, perfect. So this is what wisdom Solomon was intending: to gain wisdom, to gain instruction, to perceive words of understanding. So let me see my version. That word perceive is different in my version, but I will explain it so that we can be together. So inasema hivi in my version: to attain wisdom and discipline. I don't know, any version gani, NKJV. Interesting. So my version says, to attain wisdom and discipline. Yes. For words of understanding. What is discipline? Discipline. Discipline. This is very important before I get into what we intend. Helen, what is discipline? Discipline. You guys read this book. What is discipline? To be faithful. Whether you want to do it or not. Is that commitment? Discipline? Because this is the intention of what you have been reading. To gain wisdom, skillful application of knowledge, to gain discipline. What's discipline? Yes. Terry, what's discipline? Being faithful in what you have decided to do. So, ukichapa mtu, mwalimu amekuita, si ndio? Umefanya makosa, ukachapwa viboko. He is disciplining you. Then how is that faithful to what you have decided to do? This is an external force. How is it discipline? Yes, my sister. True. So keyword yenye amesema, one is to obey, another one ni rules, ama a code of conduct. So discipline, this is the key word of discipline, the practice of training. Inaweza kuwa external ama inaweza kuwa self, to submit to a certain code of behavior. So what we do in the army, ukienda, the first 3 years wanafanya kitu inaitwa kukutoa uraia. Wanatoa uraia for 3 years. Wanakukimbiza, imagine unalala 3 hours. I have a friend mwenye ameingia alifanya jeshi 3 years, walikuwa nalala 3 hours. By morning exactly 4, kitanda yako inafaa ikuwe smooth, na jana yote ulikimbia kwa matope. Na commander atakuja check kama kuna any matope. So they are trying to inculcate in you discipline, order, so that you follow a certain routine and regime. That's discipline. So you will realize as we go to the book of Proverbs, when I get inside, you will notice, it says, mtoto mwenye anapenda raha can never be rich. Because pleasure makes flesh have control. But discipline brings it under control. That's one of the things Solomon is insisting on. Discipline. So in the army, that is what they do, kutoa hiyo nature. After 3 years, to this day, amekuwa kwa jeshi how many years? 10 years, I think. Amekuwa kwa jeshi around 10 years, 12 years. Analala na stima on until today. Because hiyo kitu iliingia kwa subconscious yake. Na ikifika tu saa fulani, anashtuka ameamka. Because it has been impressed in them. It's discipline. It's very important. Now, ukienda sasa kwa National Intelligence Service ukitrainiwa, unapelekwa 6 months to a facility huko nje, chenye mnaonyesha kwa TV ni fake. Si news real. Mnaonyesha hapo news fake, Kenya imekuwa bombed. Na wana control, wanachukua simu yako, wanachukua kila kitu, you cannot communicate with the outside world. They try to control the narrative you face to see if you will panic or your mind will be calm. That is the training. Sasa wanakufunza something called good paranoia. you are always suspicious about your environment. It is a training being done to remove certain aspects of you and to put you in a certain state of mind. That is discipline. So Solomon anasema, the intention of me writing this book is to make you disciplined. The other one is for understanding and for words of insight. Let me try and go fast and tuweze kwenda deeper into it. Number 3, for acquiring discipline and prudent life. Doing what is right and just and fair. And then verse 4 anasema, for giving prudence to the simple and knowledge and discretion to the young. Kuna words heavy hapo, nataka muniambie. Nataka uniambie prudence. Prudence. Yes. Usiposema what is prudence, from today your name will be Prudence. What's prudence? Si umahisikia prudence? Describe what you think it means. What do you think it means?
Prudence ni kama prudence to the simple.
Michelle, from today your name will be Prudence. Nothing is coming. Ngina amesha check kwa ChatGPT. Ama ni Google. Imekata. Umeweka a wrong prompt kwa ChatGPT. So this is what prudence means. Prudence is the ability to do what? To govern and to discipline self based on knowledge. So ukitaka definitions ni keywords. Ni ability, one. Ability is acquired through practice. That is first. To govern, meaning to control. You have self-charge. To control and also to do what? To discipline. Self, mimi, based on knowledge. So what you study, you are able to apply it because you are in charge. So it means this is not external influenced. Si mimi pasi amekuja akasimama hapa, mbona unashika hiyo dem hivyo? It is self-regulated. No one sees, no one asks you, ni wewe umeamua. That is what prudence is. So Solomon anasema, the best way to be able to gain prudence to the simple is through reading these proverbs. Simple here, haimaanishi ati mtu mraisi ama no. Simple here means someone who is lacking knowledge and morally bankrupt. Hana morals. He goes. That's what the word simple means. The opposite of it is someone who is wise. So prudence will be able to make you there. Knowledge and discretion. Your word discretion. Someone. Discretion. Discretion. Yes. Doreen. Discretion.
Unajua kitu kwa kichwa lakini kuisema.
Lakini haiwezi fika kwa mdomo. Hebu describe chenye unaona kwa kichwa. Describe what you see.
Okay, first discretion inatokana na the word discreet. No.
That's good.
Discreet. Okay. It's
That's good.
It's to be discreet ni discreet, it's more of like being unique ama only limited to a particular information and you're limited to just a particular number of people or a group of people. Like, okay, I'm saying discreet.
Unaenda vizuri?
Discrete, it's more of an information that the access to it's not
Limited.
It's limited.
Yes.
In access, like inaweza kuwa to a certain
So
group of
nikikwambia
people.
this information is at your discretion, I'm telling you, you're the one to determine.
Yes, me
Yes.
peke yangu. Yes.
That's good. You see, ameanza kuthink logically. Critical thinking. Hiyo ndo chenye Proverbs inakupea. Because you have to think what Solomon meant about some of these things that anakupea. To provoke you into wholesome thinking. That's the key thing about Proverbs. That's why it's very important to the young, to you. Otherwise your mind itakuwa na kitu inaitwa mass hysteria. Nitaonyesha hiyo tukiingia into it. So, amesema correctly, discrete ama discretion is the ability to know what and when to say something or to act in a particular way. So unaona hiyo ability ya kujua huyu haifai nimpatie all information, but huyu naweza mwambia everything. That is discretion. Auendi unashare na kila mtu, by the way nimepata fiancé. It is not for everyone to know. There are certain details that you ought to act with discretion to certain people. That is what the book of Proverbs gives you. Your ability ya kuweza kujua, this is the far I can go with this person, and this is the far I can go with this person. So you will find, for example, I would know when I was in campus, there were friends of mine, ladies, I would know who to hug and who to, because najua limitations and na boundaries zenye tuko nayo. Najua huyu mtu ukihug naye kameenda. Ata assume too like, yes, we are serious now. So you are able to discern what? Discretion. Very key. This is what Solomon is going to give us through the book of Proverbs. Next, verse 5. Anasema, let the wise listen and add to their learning. So he's saying, for you to acquire what I am going to teach, you have to have the ability to listen. Key. And let the discerning get guidance. What is discerning? What is discernment? To discern. To discern. Some versions do not say guidance, says understanding. What is discernment? Brethren, this is the foundation so that niweze kupata. Yes, what is discernment?
Okay, I'll just share how I understand it.
Yes, that is what I want.
Okay, since I always prayed for the spirit of discernment, and when I pray, I ask God to know what is right and what is wrong, or to differentiate. So according to me, that's to discern.
True. To discern is to judge, and that is what you are saying. To judge what is right from what is wrong. So discerning, the underlying word there, is to be able to perceive beyond the surface. That is the root word. Kuweza kuangalia, yeye anasema praise the Lord. Ni ukweli. How are you able to discern? That is the key word. To perceive beyond what is presented. So Solomon anasema, for you to gain discernment, you need to study this book. So I would give you a story of how I discovered my wife was my wife. When I was in second year campus. So I studied, nilikuwa nimefika the stage, my mom alikuwa ameni prepare kumari young. So aliniambia, ukitaka kumari, look at these qualities. That is a story for another day. So I wanted myself to understand what she meant. I took all the verses that deal with love in the Bible. So I came to Proverbs 31. This verse helped me. Inasema that charm is deceptive. Simaisoma hiyo verse. Do you know what charm is? Vibe. Yani ni vibe. Ni vibe yenye mtu ako nayo. Akikutana na wewe unasikia like this is such a nice person to be around. The personality, the conversation, ni vitu una enjoy. Solomon anasema usikue fooled. That is deceptive. Sema beauty is fleeting. What you see externally can go. It will not be there forever. So anakwambia, your ability to be able to discern, anasema, a woman who loves the Lord is to be praised. So Solomon anakwambia, usikuwe distracted na charm, usikuwe distracted na beauty. Discern. Look beyond the surface. That is the key word hapo anakupea. That's why the world today, the culture tunaishi, ina hype charm na ina hype beauty. That's why watu wengi wana struggle. Ukiingia social media utaona tu red flag. Akikohoa kwa dina ni red flag. Akivai ni red flag. Because they are trying to figure out what can they be able to establish the truth with. Yet they don't have discernment. So Solomon is advising us, young people, that the key way of us to gain wisdom is through that ability of discernment. Munaelewa? Haya, verse 6. Verse 6 anasema, for understanding proverbs and parables, the sayings and riddles of the wise. What is understanding? Understanding. Hii mnajua. I'm sure you use it over. I have understood. Idalia. What is understanding?
Hizi words zinakuja different leo. Understanding
Yes.
is the ability to acquire, not to understand. No. It is the ability to gain knowledge.
Gain knowledge, okay.
To gain knowledge or information.
Which one comes first, knowledge or understanding?
Which one comes first?
Yes.
Knowledge.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
So how come you're saying understanding is the ability to gain the one that comes first?
Okay. Imenichanganya. But let me try rephrase. Understanding it is the ability to receive that knowledge and be able to
Nikisema, have you understood? What am I trying to pass across? What am I trying to establish?
That
najaribu kukwambia umeona venye naona. Si ndio? Sasa hebu iweke in your own words.
So it's the ability to perceive the information. Using the same word again, understanding. No, it's the ability to perceive that information and process it to your own ability of.
To some extent, yes. That is the point I was trying to pass to you, yes. It is understanding na discernment zinaenda hivi pamoja. Very hivi, ziko hivi. They are similar, especially when you read the book of Proverbs, they're used hand in hand. If you don't have discernment, you don't have understanding. If you don't have understanding, you can't discern. So to understand is to comprehend something fully, to be able to see it in its totality. That is what it means to understand. So nikisema, have you understood the concept? Inamaanisha umeiona yote, umeona hizi angles zote, and anything that might come your way. You will be able to see that. That is why Solomon anakuja anasema, you can see, for example, in one of the verses, anasema, seek wisdom with all your heart and seek understanding, because by that you'll be established. What he means, anasema, there are things that are beyond money that you need to apply yourself fully. We'll see it as we go on. Proverbs and parables, those are complicated things of life. So generally, proverbs are things that ni mafumbo, things that are concealed, that require you to apply your mind to be able to understand. Let's jump, ndo nimalize verse 7. This is the last verse. Verse 7, anaendelea kusema, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, and fools despise wisdom and discipline. What's the fear of God? Now, usiseme ile yenye apostle amewafunza. You, what do you understand? What is the fear of God? What's the fear of God? What does it mean to you? What's the fear of God? Yes, my sister.
Okay, personally, I understand the fear of the Lord as like, if you have fear of the Lord, there are things you won't do, like things that are against God, like sin. When you stay away from sin, it means you have fear of the Lord. To me, that's how I understand it.
It's true. So, amesema correctly, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And to fear God is to hate evil. Proverbs chapter 8, verse 13. Imagine the day uko peke yake kwa room. Na uimagine tu immediately watu wa media wa bang do wametoka wote na makamera. And would you feel ashamed if the whole world would watch what you are doing? That's the fear of God. That is, najaribu ku describe that feeling of what the fear of God does. Umoi danganya alafu ukashikwa red-handed. Do you know what goes internally? That internal feeling. That is what is the exposition una face if you are conscious of the fear of God. So the fear of God is that inner consciousness of God's presence. You are fully aware of who God is internally. So your thoughts, let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in your sight. So hizo vitu zote uko ndani zenye no one sees, uko conscious kuona Mungu anapenda hii thought. This thing yenye na brood na enjoy, Mungu anaipenda. That's the fear of God. Once you start having that, inasema you start acquiring knowledge. Because then you will not entertain something that will grieve the spirit. You're not going to entertain it. That's the beginning of knowledge. But anasema fools despise what? Hawataki, wanataka kaende. Mazetu hatutaki hizi vitu za kujiregulate. So you'll be able to see whether you're wise or you're a fool. Have we understood Solomon? I wanted to lay that foundation. To go all in the same page. So remember I told you that the essence of this book is wisdom. According to the book of Proverbs, wisdom is the skillful and the correct application of knowledge. I want you to notice something about wisdom. It is a balance. It's to know the mean. So this is what happens. Courage is a wise thing, a courageous person. But being rash is considered foolishness. Sindio? But unaweza ona ni a very minimal thing. Also being timid is not courageous. So hapa katikati, where you are not too rash, you are not also timid. That is wisdom. You notice? Similarly, ukiwa na pesa, someone who is extravagant is not wise. But someone who is mean is not wise. So uko hapa katikati. That's wisdom. So your ability ya kujua hapa, I'm going away. Na spend too much. Hapa nakuwa mchoyo. That capacity to be able to do that, that is wisdom. That's what Solomon is advising us. That's why I remember what I told you. I want us, when you finish, I want you to remember one, character and values. What are your values? Because these are things that this is the best age to start establishing. If you don't have your values, one thing that is going to happen, you're going to attract a partner who is of similar. So if you have similar interests, you're going to be attracted to each other. Let's say nyinyi wote mpendi church. Ama mnapenda kukua lukewarm Christians. You will not look at someone mwenye akishika hapa mic. Utasema huyo. Pressure mingi. Because you are being attracted to your own values. That's the thing. That's why if you are not keen to be able to shape yourself, I guarantee you, you'll be able to pull that towards you. Utataka mtu light touch, not spiritual. And this is what wisdom speaks about. I'd also like to lay this. So Proverbs, you will notice, emphasizes shaping of your character and guarding your behavior. All the Proverbs that goes there is about shaping character and behavior. And it does it in two ways. It speaks about things in contrast, comparison, comparing two different opposites. Juxtaposing, in other words, contrasting. Vitu kama hizo ina compare vitu mbili. You will find, for example, it compares wise and simple, wise and fools, the diligent and the lazy, the humble and the proud, the righteous and the wicked, the generous and the stingy, the kind-hearted and the ruthless, the patient and the hot-tempered, the prudent and the reckless. How many are wise? Let's show by lifting up the show of hands. How many here are wise? Haze kumeja fool suku ndani. How many are foolish? None of you. How many are hot-tempered? How many are patient? How many are proud? Like full of pride. How many are humble? So I want you to notice, because unaona nikisema hivyo, uki-interpret Proverbs in that way, uta notice, you imagine it is about groups of people. Wale ni proud, sisi ni humble. Wale ni hivyo, sisi tuko hivi. You will notice that is the mindset you will approach with the book of Proverbs. But that is not the case. Proverbs is speaking about two natures fighting in you. Two natures. Conflicting, trying to get your attention. So Solomon, the writer of this book, was wise but foolish at the same time. He writes very wise things, but he does very foolish things. Because two natures are fighting in him, similarly to all of us. Let me show you. Turn with me to the book of Proverbs chapter 9. I will not read the whole of chapter 9. Nita read sections, ndo uweze kuelewa. Listen to what Solomon anaandika. Anasema, wisdom has built her house. So wisdom, amejenga nyumba yake. She has hewn out its 7 pillars. So set out the 7 pillars. This is wisdom, verse 2. She has prepared her meat and mixed her wine. She has also set her table. So prepare a dinner, a banquet for us. Wisdom. Verse 4. Oh, sorry. Verse 3. Sorry, verse 3. Yes, verse 3. Verse 3 anasema, she has sent out her maids and calls from the highest point in the city. What does that mean? It's very loud. Ameenda at the point in he can audibly be heard. The highest point. Verse 4. Anasema, let all who are simple come in here. And I invite any person who lacks wisdom. She says to those who lack judgment. Verse 5. Come, eat my food and drink the wine that I have mixed. Verse 6. Live your simple ways and you will live. Sasa anapeana what he can give you. And then walk in the ways of understanding. I jump to verse 13. Same chapter. Verse 13. Huyo ni wisdom anaongea. Sasa sikia verse 13. The folly woman is loud. So wisdom was another woman prepare her meal. Amewaitisha for. Invite. Now this is the foolish woman. Folly is basically foolish. The woman folly is loud. She is undisciplined and without knowledge. Yeye ako careless. Verse 14. She sits at the door of her house on the seat at the highest point of the city. So yeye pia ako na kona yake. Na anasema, calling those who pass by, who go straight on their way. Verse 16. Listen, nasa yeye. Let all who are simple come in here. She says to those who lack judgment. Both of them are approaching the same person. Those who lack judgment. 17. Anawaambia, sikia tamu yake. Tamu zake ni very smooth. Very sweet. Stolen water is? Chakula umeiba ni tamu. Umewahi kula chips mwitu? Wacha nikwambie ni tamu. Stolen water is sweet. Food eaten in secret is delicious. Hiyo ndo tamu. Hiyo sasa ni explanation. Solomon anasema, but little do they know that the dead are in there. So, there are two natures Both of them screaming and shouting for your attention. Which one will you take? Same, Paul and I refer to the same. Put for me also Galatians chapter 5 verse 16. You see, the same concept that Solomon was speaking about in the New Testament, Paul picks it up and speaks about it. Galatians chapter 5 verse 16. So I say, live by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the sinful. So what are the sinful nature? Pride, hot-tempered, anger. Hizo vitu zote Solomon amezimention. Sasa akakuja hapa akasema verse 17. For the sinful nature, kuna nature ingine iko sinful ndani yako. Brethren, I want you to realize that you are a believer, but there is a sinful nature in you. I want you to realize that. Paul aandiki wenye dhambi. This is the church of Galatia. It's a church. Ni believers. Anawaambia, for the sinful nature desires what is contrary to the Spirit. So kuna nature ndani yako iko na contrary desire to another nature. The reason why you feel guilt when you sin is because there are two conflicting nature. Ulienjoy hiyo dhambi, but tena una feel guilt. Two natures competing. Anaendelea kusema hapo. And the Spirit, what is contrary to the sinful nature. They are in conflict. That's the guilt with each other. So that you do not do what you want. That's why umetoka hapa kwa hii, tumeongea hapa kwa hii sermon, you've understood kusema, I am not going to be watching wicked movies. You've made a choice. See, hiyo ni si spirit. Ukitoka tu hapo nje, Netflix na kwanza wanakupatia preview. Unasema hiyo sasa nitafanya nini? That's the sinful nature. Conflict happening within you. Anasema, but if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under law. Then anaenda verse 19 could describe what we are going to see in the book of Proverbs. So you see, you can either be wise or foolish. The choice is, whom do you accept their offer of the meal they have prepared? Utakula na nani? Kukula inamaanisha utacommune na nani? Whom will you have fellowship with? The woman who is wise or the woman who is foolish? Those natures are within you. We've understood. I've laid that foundation. Tuko sawa. So that I can go now to the realities we face. The sermon of today. I hope tuko sawa. Good. So, you live in this culture. I'm going to go about 5 things. There are many others, but these are 5 main ones. You live in a culture that is hypersexual. Very highly sexual. That's why I want us to talk heart to heart. In a culture that heavily speaks about sex. I'll go back to that. Ndarudia you. You live in a culture that is highly focused on pleasure. The goal of life is pleasure. That is what they say. So be careful, because I will come back to that. You also live in a culture that seeks for quick and easy money. In short, easy success. Very easy success. You don't want to work hard, but unataka kupita exams. Unajua zile theory tunaambiana, ukivuta bangi. Unajua sisi in our time in high school, ukivuta bangi maths itakuwa tu maths itakuwa rahisi. That is what tulikuwa tunajienjoy. And you know, in Western Province, I studied in Mumias. In Western Province, bangi ina grow kama mboga tu. Ukienda tu kwa forest, our school used to be surrounded by a forest tuko kando. So ukienda tu kwa forest, unaweza okota bangi. And then unaidry, and then unaivuta. Ukivuta, tunajidanganya, maths itakuwa rahisi. Na nakwambia, ukivuta, hata words zinasonga kwa hiyo karatasi. Unaona, words zinasonga kwa karatasi. Hiyo maths hauoni. But it's a lie we tell ourselves so that we can be able to imagine another reality. That is what I'm saying. We want an easy success. Then number 4, we live in a culture that is about mass hysteria. A crowd mentality. I will explain it when we come to that. Mass hysteria is tunaamka wote tunafanya kitu moja. Without even questioning, mbona tunafanya hivi? Tukiamua leo tunaenda kuchoma Central Police Station. Tumejichocha wote. Haujishikilii, mbona tunafanya hivyo? Mass hysteria. You will see. Number 5, we live in a culture that is rebellious towards conventional wisdom. Conventional wisdom is what has been working. Unaona, sisi hatutaki hiyo. Hatutaki hiyo. We want our way. Interestingly, unajua of late tunasikia a lot about Gen Z. Unajua hata sisi tulifanya hizo vitu. Especially millennial. Kuna time, I remember, I used to read, most managers at the workplace were complaining of how to handle millennials. Because millennials, the definition of our generation is that sisi tunaweza safa kama tumenyamaza. You will not know what we are thinking. We will not say, we will keep quiet. And then siku moja tu tutalipuka and everything goes under. But Gen Z ni opposite. To manage a Gen Z is difficult because yeye ni careless everywhere. You see everything everywhere. They don't hide. Iko well expressed. So these things, it's with every generation you will be able to see. But when you are young, you feel like the conventional wisdom does not make sense. It's useless. So I want us to be able to see. Those are realities. If you have another one, you will let me know and we will be able to go through it. So these are 5 things your generation faces. Wacha nirudi kwa number 1. Hypersexual. This is highly sexually charged environment. Highly. And this is the sad part that you are living in. Some of you have already lost their virginity. And virginity also applies to men. It's very necessary for us to make that clarification. Some of you are already engaging in sexual activities. Back in my days, when we used to, tulikuwa hata sisi na hizo mahanjam za youth, tulikuwa ukienda, tunakatia dem, na the farthest we could do ni kushikana mkono. Hapo umeweza. Na unajua hiyo ni tuko around 13, 14. Umeweza. Siku hizi nikiongea na mtu wa 9 years old, you would think ni teenager. Anakuexplainia certain positions zenye wewe mwenyewe unashangaa, umejua hizi vitu wapi? What do you watch? Because the environment is highly sexual. Things that are meant for entertainment zimekuwa charged into sexual. Cartoons that were meant to make children start learning the environment zimeongezwa sexuality. This is the kind of culture unaishi in. That is why most of the ladies around today, they feel their beauty is tagged to their sexuality. The more skin you expose, the more you feel beautiful about yourself. Because it's the culture we are living in. So it's necessary. I am emphasizing, it's a value thing. That is not the truth. It's what has been presented as value, as important, as weight. So in a culture, yenye ukitaka ku express love, you have to sexualize it. You either hug for 5 minutes, ensure your bodies zimeshikana. Ndio uonyeshe huyu mtu you love them. Or a guy will tell you, you don't love me. Why? Hatujafanya mechi. Unajua hizo terms nililearn. Nilienda Kisumu nilikuwa naongea with young people. So mimi naambiwa tu, another lady akasema, unajua mimi, my boyfriend anani pressure juu ya mechi. Mimi sasa unajua hiyo word mechi, sijasikia mechi. I'm wondering, what do you mean? So you realize, and this is a Christian, these are 2 Christians. The boyfriend is putting pressure on her to express love. Show me your love. And that expression of love is sexualized. Is about sex. This is the generation we are currently living in. That's why I say it is hypersexual. Hyper means that sexual thing volume imekuwa so high. This is the danger, especially, let me give you in a context of courtship. Whenever you court someone and you cross the sexual line, you struggle with the ability of building long-term relationship. To build a long-term relationship, you need to be able to connect with that person beyond the natural. Once the physical comes, you are only attracted to their body. Mukimit, leo hiyo skirt umevaa, leo unakaaje. It's only the physical that is captivated. But for you to build something deeper, inamaanisha mume have conversations. What is your dreams? What are your hopes? What are your fears? Connect to that deeper level, ukajua this is a human being. So that the day muko na holy matrimony, we call that consummation. You seal what you have already built. It's very necessary. That's why you notice if you focus highly on the sex, you lower ability to build genuine relationships. Solomon teaches us that. So the minute unaanza kukua exposed, for example, kwa vitu kama pornography, when you want to have a normal relationship with the opposite sex, you will struggle. Because you will want to replay what preoccupies your mind. But when you try to do it, you realize, I slap venye ya pornography, I hit kama hiyo. Because that is an act. So what does it get you to do? You get even to a more hole. You want to try even another one. So that you see, maybe nikijaribu next. Like gambling. Maybe nikieka bet ingine. It's you're trying to get deeper into it. This is why Solomon will contrast two things when we see here. Instead of sexual immorality, he contrasts sexual integrity or sexual purity. Na nasema a fool ndiye ana follow sexual immoral things. Let me show you. See Proverbs chapter 5 verse 1. Proverbs chapter 5 verse 1. So while they are opening, I will tell you also, our culture is heavily sexualized in language. The cursing. So umeona hiyo? Watu wangapi hapa wana curse? Do you know why you are ashamed? Najua muna curse, but you are ashamed to raise up your hand because you know the values of the church is different. Value means what you place weight on. Kitu gani more important? It's more worthy. So I'm trying to take the same values your church, indoctrinate it to yourself. Make it your value. So that around you when friends comes, wanajua huyu jamaa tusikas mbele yake. Tusikas mbele yake. They watch their language. Because the culture is heavily sexualized. You will also notice dressing, hiyo nimewambia, is highly sexualized. You find siku hizi majamaa wakishainua chuma, wanavaa shati yenye button imefunguliwa hadi hapa. Sasa ndio waangushe watoto wa wenyewe. Highly sexualized. You'll also realize that there is a lot of casualness with sex. Sexual casualness. Kissing is, hata hiyo sasa hata our consider sex. It's here. You go with it. Ni kuhug, kuna hugging zingine hapo ni za shetani. Unaishi. Mpaka mguu inainuliwa. You find that all these things ni a culture built around sexual activities. If you're prudent and you're wise, you will avoid them. This is what Solomon has said. My son, and our advice, because you're all sons of the kingdom. Sindio? His son see about gender, ni about sonship, ni about relationship with the father. So your father is advising you. Solomon alikuwa anaambiwa na is an advise his children, but now this is your father in heaven, God. Anasema, pay attention to my wisdom. Listen well to the words of my insight. Verse 2. That you may maintain discretion. What is discretion? Ability to know what to do, when to do it, with whom. And your lips may preserve knowledge. So that you have control over your tongue. Continue. Verse 3. For the lips of an adulteress. Sasa ukikutana na an adulterer, they drip honey. Umeona sex scene kwa movie. Inakuwaga na a lot of tension. Ina build. Kwanza wanapatana hivi macho zao zina lock. Upepo inapiga tu. Unaona tu kamera ina zoom in kwa jasho venye inateremka tu chini tu. Roho inapiga tu. I am telling you, and I create an environment. That is what an adulteress does with their lips. I was telling a certain brother that in our time, it was the best a lady could do kukuonyesha ako interested ni kukulokia macho na kukuweshia smile. I am telling you, siku hizi vitu zimechange. Akipenda anakujia. That's why it's the lips of an adulteress. Anasema hapo, for the lips of an adulteress drip honey. Na nasikia anasema her speech is smoother than oil. Anajua the buttons to press. That is why unasema, hey, my wife never does this to me. Why? Because the adulteress knows which buttons to press. That's the adulterer. Hapo anasema, but in the end she is bitter than gall. Gall ni ile inatoka kwa bile. Umeona kwa liver? Mtu anachinja mbuzi, that is the first thing we are told to remove from the liver, because inaharibu nyama mzima. So she's bitter than gall, sharp as a double-edged sword. Kuna mtu anawacha bibi yake akidhani the other side it's greener, pastures. Akienda anasema, we, kumbe niliwacha heaven. Because ali imagine that presentation is the entire thing. You have sex with them 1, 2, you just realize there is nothing special. So instead ya wewe escape, you go deeper because your heart is yearning for lust, for more. That's why it's her feet go down to death and her steps lead straight to the grave. Verse 6, Solomon anasema, she gives no insight to a thought to a way of life. Her paths are crooked, she knows it not. Yeye mwenyewe ajielewi. That's what Solomon anasema. She does not understand what she does. So wewe kufuata hiyo path yake, you're just killing yourself for nothing. Now then, my sons, listen to me. Do not turn aside from what I say. And I emphasize. Endelea. Verse 8. Keep to a path far from her. Lenga anything sexually immoral. Do not go near the door, to her door. Anything sexual, run away from it. Keep yourself from it. Whether it is movies, whether it is friends, mwenye mkikaa tu hivi conversations zao zinaenda towards that. Run from that environment. Because they are hooking you up to a trap. It starts with thoughts, imaginations. It leads to setting yourself up in wrong environment. Then you start acting on it. Run from that. Lest you give your best strength to others and your ears to one who is cruel. So it means you will lose much more than what you think you will gain. By the way, I realized, unajua kuna day, I think it was my wife or someone in an office, tulikaa chini nikamwambia, wacha tufanye the cost of mpango wa kando. Because you jamaa, unajua siku hizi kuna a lot of things about polygamy. Nikamwambia, mpango wa kando is more expensive. Nikamwambia, wacha tufanye hesabu. Mkitaka kwenda kucheza mechi, mnabook Airbnb. Ni how much kilelesho, hebu check. Akaniambia 5,600, andika chini. Unamtumia fare, ni how much ya Uber kwanza? 1,500. It costs you much more. That's what Solomon anasema hapo. Lest strangers feast on your wealth. Any person who plays those games, it is difficult for them to make progress. Very difficult. Because always kuna shimo ya mahali money zinaenda. And you are toil and reach another man's house. You're wasting your energy in sexual immorality. Should I continue? Wacha nifike verse 14. Verse 11. At the end of your life, you will groan. When your flesh and your body are umechapwa hapo na HIV ama gonorrhea. Mwangangana nayo. Na kuna ingine herpes. Herpes unajua haiponi. Unaimanage tu for the rest of your life. Sasa I imagine umeokota herpes and then ukaokoka, ukamari hapa. Unajua kitu ya kwanza nakwambia enda ulete test. Ndio tusiingize husband yako kwa trap, alafu tumuulize sasa ako na herpes. Kwanza ako na herpes gani level G3 ama whatever. Utakubali bado kuendelea na yeye? We have to confirm. Anajua what he's putting himself into. That's the risk. Anaendelea kusema, you will say, how I hated discipline. How my heart, you need regret. And let me tell you, this is the thing I've realized. As you get towards 40s, there's something we call middle-age crisis. Middle-age crisis is you questioning the decisions you've made if they were really worth it. This is what is happening to this person. And I regret. Was it really worth it? Umefika hapo wewe ni bachelor 40, bado una sag suruari, ndio uko huko na watu, but is it worth it? Verse 13. I would not obey my teachers or listen to my instructors. Still regretting verse 14. I have come to the brink of utter ruin in the midst of all assembly. Everyone has seen my folly. Anyway, I'll stop it there. Let's see. No, I will not read this. Read at your own time Proverbs chapter 7, verse 1 to 27. The whole of Proverbs 7. It speaks about sexual immorality. The whole of Proverbs chapter 7. Maybe nisome verse 1 na 2. Proverbs chapter 7. Proverbs chapter 7. Anasema, my son, keep my words and store up my commands within you. Keep my commands and you will live. Guard my teachings as the apple of my eye. Anasema ziweke karibu, very close to you. Bind them in your fingers and write them in the tablets of your heart. That means keep them close, very close to you. Say to wisdom, you are my sister, and call understanding your kinsmen. Make them your relatives. Verse 5. They will keep you from who? So anakwambia the secret of keeping away from pornography, adultery, fornication, hizo vitu zote, is you maintaining close the word of God, because it shapes your values. The word of God is what will make you understand that sex is limited in the institution of marriage. The word of God is what will tell you adultery is not in any way good, because stolen water is sweet, food eaten in secret is delicious, but little do they know that they end up with gravel in their mouth. So it is temporarily exciting, but ultimately destructive. You need value. It helps you make a decision. That's what it will help you. They will keep you from the adulterers. Verse 6 inasema, at the window, yes, sasa anapeana example. At the window of my house, I looked through the lattice. Sasa ni mtu, ni jioni wa usiku wa manane, si usiku wa manane, jioni inaitwaje kwa Kiswahili? Macheo ya jioni. That's the word. Umetoka kwa roof, alikuwa kwa balcony, lattice, akaangalia uko chini kwa dirisha. Akaenda kusema, I saw among the simple, so among mtu ana lack values, casual. I noticed a young man, a youth who lacked judgment. Akaendelea, he was going down the street near her corner. So kuna ka sponsor fulani, Auntie Haria, anaishi kwa kona pale, kwa hiyo estate. Anajulikana kwa hiyo estate. Anatafutanga tu mabenten. Yeye ni sponsore kwa hawa mabenten. Sasa anasema hapo, I was going down the streets, the corner, walking along the street of a house. Verse 9. At twilight, hiyo ni jioni inaingia hivi. Giza, but si giza sana. Kwa hapo hivyo. As the day was fading, as the dark of the night set in. Sasa anajaribu kuficha ndio asionekane. Ameenda kwa nyumba yake. Anasema, then came out a woman to meet him, dressed like a prostitute with crafty intent. So amedress hivyo with intention ya kucapture the fool, ya kuchinja kondoo. Akaendelea kusema, she was loud and defiant, her feet never stay home. Anaongea mingi. Na haiwezi kaa nyumbani, she cannot be restrained at home. Now in the street, now in the squares, at every corner she lacks. And then verse 13, she took hold of him. Hii si ile ati umeshika mkono yake. Ni ile kama jamaa amevaa jacket, alishikwa kweli kweli. Hakuna distance. Akampea kiss with a brazen face. Yani brazen face ni sura bila woga. To her eyes. Amemwangalia. Akamwambia, I have fellowship offerings at home, and today I have fulfilled my vows. Meaning, tuko ready to go. Endelea kwenda verse 15. So I came out to meet you. And I'm making it is personalized. It is about you. Hii kitu yote nimevaa, venye nimetoka, it's you. I came out to meet you. I looked for you, and I have found you. Jamaa roho yake inapiga saa hizo. Huyu ni kijana hana mbele wala nyuma. I have covered, anaanza create an idea in your mind. I have covered my bed. I have covered my bed with colored linen from Egypt. Mimi nacheza na vitu exotic. Anamwambia hivyo, mahali utalala leo. Alafu sema, I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes and cinnamon. Nakwambia hiyo, unajua siku hizi ni candles. Hizo siku ameweka spices. Sasa amecheza fast na mind yake. Akamwambia tena, senses zako, bed itakumaliza, harufu utasikia. Anamwambia, come, let us drink deep of love till morning. That is where the word in making love imetoka from. Let's enjoy ourselves with love. Alafu akamwambia, my husband. Anamwambia, nimeolewa ndio, but usijali juu ya hiyo. My husband is not at home. He has gone on a long journey. Sema usiogope. Hayuko. Hautashikwa. So I'm telling you, sexual immorality, sexual temptation, the hype of it, it is nothing new under the sun. We faced it. You will face it. Gen Alpha will face it. Your generation inakuja after Gen Beta will face it. All those generations after. Hii ni Solomon. Unajua Solomon alikuwa na exist which year? 1000 BC. 1000 years before Jesus. Na alikuwa na face. So it is nothing new under the sun. But wisdom will give you values of where to draw the line. Remember, sexual temptation is very seductive. Ni sweet. My sisters, utapata mtu mwenye atakusweep off your feet. Anakuambia mimi leo tunaenda Kempinski. Ama tunaenda Noah. Na kupeleka Noah Gallery. Pale Kileleshwa. Unapelekwa hapo, ukimaliza hapo na kupeleka massage. Wapi? Uko chini. Very smooth talk. Utasema brothers in the Lord hawajuagi hizi vitu. Hizi vitu hawajuagi. Hawajuagi. Do you know what ana create atmosphere. Una enjoy it. Ngoja uingie kwa hiyo nyumba as a wife. You will just realize hauko peke yako. Kuna watu wengine 30 wanapewa hiyo treatment. Na sasa wewe venye umekuwa wife uko na mimba unagongwa. Because now your value imebaki kukuwa domesticated. You're a domestic animal. That's why I'm telling you. Proverbs anaiweka hivi. He puts it this way. In the end you end up with gravel in your mouth. Solomon is teaching you, be wise. See through your uongo yake. Perceive through it. Eza kuona through it. Usikuwe caught up. Be careful. So, sawa? You understand? Number 2, there is the focus on pleasure, which I said. Number 1 is hypersexual. Number 2 is focus on pleasure. Hii ni drug abuse. Kuna shisha. Kuna LSD. Wachana na hizi za kawaida kama bangi. Hizo naona nasikia zimepitwa na wakati. Siku hizi kuna LSD na mashisha. Kuna clubbing. Ama pia kuna mapati. Siku hizi nasikia kuna pool party. Kuna white, wanavaa white yote. All white. Yes, hizo ma white parties. Watu wanaenda tu kukaa mahali. And usually the feeling, especially among Christians, is the feeling of missing out. You feel like you're missing out in your youth. Kila mtu anaifanya. Mimi nikimiss out. When nimejump a stage, you will feel like you're missing out. It is a total lie. And we will see as you go through. There's also this, your pleasure, seeking for pleasure. It's also a carefree lifestyle without restriction. You want whatever your heart wants. Unataka kujitumbukiza. To let go. Kuchafua. That's the word. However, Solomon teaches the opposite. He says self-discipline instead of pleasure. You will notice, wacha niwachore graph. Graph inafanya hivi. If this is pleasure, iko na mahali inafika, then inaanza kukuwa na diminishing rate of return. Si mwaifanya kitu kwa maths. inafikaga mahali when you overdo it, it starts losing its meaning. That's what pleasure is. That is why sex was only set for the boundary of marriage, so that it doesn't lose its meaning. Any pleasure God gives you, it has its limits, and you must handle it within those limits. Similarly, food. Food is really nice, especially good food. It's really nice. But when you overdo it, inafika mahali inaanza kuwa gluttony. You notice, it starts becoming harmful to you. Same the way medicine. Medicine is very good. Paul anambia Timothy, take a little alcohol for your stomach. Meaning, use that drug within the confines that it is good for you. Because he was taking it as a medicine. Sasa siku hizi watu wanachukua hiyo ni pombe tulewe. Because they are going beyond what it was intended for. Similarly, si mnajua heroin na cocaine inatumiwa for pain management. But watu wameitumia for abuse. So, pleasure, God has given us all we need for enjoyment of this life. It must be handled within the confines. So abuse, by this focused pleasure, this is a culture that seeks abuse of anything that drives the senses. As young people, tunaweza organize hapa by then, and I can challenge Mr. Oscar, our chairman, our consultant, Mr. Maingi, to handle one day, tupange, tuende road trip na Manga as young people, tuchape huko. It is a good thing, but we do it within a confine. Unaona? Objective ni as to connect, to be able to build one another. But siku hizi, kuna watu wanachapa road trip na ni kulewa na sexual immorality. Why? Because they lose the meaning. Their focus is on something that induces pleasure. So the opposite that Solomon gives us, Solomon advises any person who does not develop self-discipline and fall into that trap. So as a young man, if you have not developed a habit of disciplining yourself, you fall into that habit. I'll give you the best instance. The first time I got born again was in class 7. Unajua mimi nimekuwa conceived in the church. Sikuwa born, I was conceived in the church. I was a prayer item. So by class, nilikuwa overexposed to Christianity. By class 7, nikakuwa born again. By the time niliingia high school, nilisahau your salvation. Nikarudi tena nikaokoka form 4. Unajua ile kuokoka exam. Unaogopa exam, sasa unaokoka. Niliokokea hiyo tena. But the minute tunamaliza tu shule hivi, sisi unajua tulikuwa tunakaa nje 2 years before uende campus. Hiyo 2 years ilikuwa the serious years of sinning. Ilikuwa the years of sinning. The thing happened, the time now, just before campus, it was in March 2011, I decided I gave my life to Christ. Now I did an audit. Nikasema nimeokoka before, na nimekuwa nikibackslide. What was I doing differently? So I decided I am going to change what I was doing before. So I said, I want to know God myself. Staki crowd mentality of salvation. I built a discipline. Every day I woke up. I knew my mom wanted me to start doing some works by 7 a.m. So I would wake up by 6. I opened my Bible. I developed a discipline for consistently every day by 5. Ikafika mahali, nikiamka late, let's say nilala late na nikasahau, I feel something is wrong with me because it has become normal for me to do that. Do you know how ikifika by 1 kama umezoea kukula na hujakula uko na njaa? That's how I was. Nikienda into the day without reading the word, I felt something is lacking. So sometimes in campus, my lecturers knew I always come to class late. Always. Nilikuwa naingia kwa class inaanza 9, naingia around 10:30. Classes zetu zilikuwa 3 hours. Because sometimes tulikuwa tunafanya CU services. CU services ina happen hadi around midnight. Nikienda nilale naamuka late na sitaki kutoka hapo until I do what? Study. It became such a habit mpaka I felt like there is a huge gap if I don't do it. This is why I'm emphasizing discipline, that self-regulation. It gets to a point you become a slave of the discipline, the good discipline. That's why when you learn consistent prayer, personal study of scripture, it develops a certain discipline yenye itafika wakati, once you do it over time, it controls, governs your means of behavior. That's the key thing. That's what we call self-discipleship. So if you don't do that, your character will be controlled by every other thing. And you know, if you don't have something that controls your passion, someone else will define it. It's either a movie, it's either a group of friends, it's either certain thoughts and meditations of your heart that will control it. This is why we are living in a culture that is heavily pleasure, because everyone is flowing with everything. Kila mtu anataka chenye ina happen huko nje. They want to flow with it. Let me read for you Proverbs chapter 21 verse 17. Proverbs chapter 21 verse 17. Proverbs 21 verse 17. The book you've been covering, that is my emphasis. So hapa nasema, he who loves, kindly read with me, he who loves, kama we ni mpenda raha, you become poor. Why? Whoever loves wine or oil, so those were the things of pleasure back then. Whoever loves wine or oil will never be rich. So watu wa pleasure wanachafuaga sana. They really destroy you. They burn wealth. Seriously. They burn a lot of wealth. Alafu tena, Proverbs chapter 23 verse 20. 23 verse 20 to 21. 23 verse 20. Inasema, do not join those who drink much wine or gorge themselves in meat, nyama choma na pombe. Haikuanza juzi. Ilianza siku za kina Solomon. For drunkards, listen, for drunkards and glutton become poor, and drowsiness clothes them in rags. Walevi na poverty hivi. Alcohol and drug abuse is the greatest thief of wealth. You will see that. Let me jump also. Proverbs chapter 20 verse 1. Proverbs chapter 20 verse 1. Nasema, wine is a mocker and beer a brawler. So mtu mwenye anateka bangi anasema anakuwaga na mokari mingi na anakuwaga na vita mingi. Alafu anasema, whoever is laid astray by them is not. So choose for yourselves which is the path, whether utaingia kwa pombe and raha na clubbing, or you will follow the Lord. Number 3, quick and easy money. Hapa kila mtu yuko. Watu wangapi wanataka quick and easy money? Najua mnataka kwa roho, but since nimeisema as an issue, ndani mnasumbuliwa. Let me give you a secret. The joy of learning something, the joy of making money is not the money itself, it's the process. The joy of learning, let me tell you, I used to see Apostle teach Bible study. Nasema, wow, that is so nice. But I came to enjoy the greatest joy is discovering it by myself. Taking those 3 Bibles unazieka kando, trying to get the meaning of these words. It goes deeper and it gives you more joy. You now start learning, hearing God's voice by yourself. So the process is equally important than the end. So unaona mtu anaweza dhani making money, I need money now. The process itself will teach you how to keep that riches once you gain it. Jumping the stages will make you waste it because you will not know the value of what you've done. This is why quick and easy money, things like betting, gambling, kuna conmanship. Kuna kijana mwingine alikuwa anaitwa Mabegi ama Mbengi. There were 4 boys in Kasarani. They were killed. Walipatwa wametupwa Limuru. Hiyo story mkipata time naweza watumia hizo videos. There were 4 boys. They were very good at conning people through M-Pesa na hizo vitu. So one time wakakon one of the serious politicians hapa Kenya. Na wakapewa warning, akamwambia nataka pesa yangu by this time. Wakalenga. Walihepa home, wakarudi after some time. Wakadhani jamaa vitu zimetulia. Jamaa amesahau. Walihantiwa one by one. Walikuwa wamepatwa, wamekuwa tortured, wamekatwa mikono, wamesijua wamedungwa vitu wapi, wakatupwa huko. Limuru, kwa hiyo forest. Ukienda Limuru kuna ka forest hapo. Wakakuwa dumped there. This guy started by hunting them one by one. As if anajua tu mahali wako. And you find that the thing they were looking for was quick and easy money. Saizi kuna kitu watu wanaitwa hapa trading. Tuna trade. Na yet wana money launder. They don't know they're doing money laundering. Mtu anaweza trade na 5,000 and in 1 week ako na 100,000. Mr. Maingi umefanya trading. Is that really possible? That is nowhere close to reality. Ni money laundering. And I have seen these examples. I have seen there was a time during elections where in a spike sana. Tulikuwa tunafanya biashara na a good friend of mine. Huyu jamaa akakuja akatupea offer. Sema mimi nataka tu kitu moja. Naenda kuwapatia 60 million. Nitawekea 60 million kwa account. Munipatie tu 55. 55 tu. Hiyo ingine ni yenu. Facilitation fee. Sasa unajua my friend akasema wewe tumeomoka. Nikamwambia tu my brother. He's a brother in the Lord. Nikamwambia tu my brother. Wewe umeona mtu anakupatia tu 5 million bwa. There is nothing like that. You have not worked. Nikamwambia the minute any money na hit your account above 1 million, KRA wanakuwa informed. Na kama una explain, DCI wanakuwa informed. Unafanya money laundering. Gava ina zero in kwako. Wanaona hii source imetoka ikaenda wapi. Wakisha notice ni huyu jamaa ni money launderer, wewe pia unashikwa as aiding and abetting. Kaambia my friend, hakuna mahali tunafanya kitu kama hiyo. Hakuna mahali. Hiyo kitu ilimuuma, but later alikuja kuona value because hiyo ilikuwa time Uhuru alikuwa amechange noti. Na unajua mbona Uhuru alichange noti? Watu walikuwa wameiba pesa mingi ya serikali wameweka kwa magunia. So they were trying to bring in money back into the economy. So they were trying to look for any route possible ya kuingiza those monies as before the new notes zitoke. Jamaa alikuwa excited. Wataka kujua ni trap. That's why if you are running for quick and easy money, you become a slave, an easy target for such things. Kuna vitu kama cyber crimes, watu wanaiba M-Pesa, wanakuwa na sim card mingi sana, wakijaribu ku trap watu. Let's see what Solomon anasema hivi. Solomon anapeana the opposite. Rather than running for quick and easy money, an advocate for hard work, excellence, and contentment. Unatosheleza na what you have. You just put your mind to do what God has given you, becoming better at your skill. So that not only do you gain the value, the produce of your hard work, you also see the quality of the work that comes out of your hand. Solomon advocates for that. Let's see. Anasema in Proverbs chapter 23, verse 4 to 5. Anasema, do not wear yourself out to get rich. Have wisdom to show restraint. Usijiue, that is what anasema. Usijiue because of money. Know where to draw the line. That is what we call contentment. Godliness with contentment is great gain. Alafu anasema, verse 5, cast at a glance at riches and they are gone. Anasema, any person who chases after money is meaningless because today it's here, tomorrow. For they will surely sprout wings and fly off in the sky like an eagle. So be careful. Money is not something you put your heart to it. And in same chapter, verse 10 to 11. Anasema, do not move an ancient boundary stone or encroach on the field of the fatherless. Anasema usikue, nilikuwa nataka kutumia watu fulani, usiibe shamba za watu. Usiibe shamba za watu. Nilikuwa nataka kusema usikue arap mashamba. Usiibe shamba za watu. That's what the Bible inasema. Unajua hii ancient boundary stones, in the olden days, boundaries za land zilikuwa zinakuwa marked na mamawe. Una set up mamawe, venye siku hizi tunafanya beacon. Sijui kama mnajua beacon? Zinamakiwa na mamawe. So in those days, watu wenye walikuwa naiba mashamba, anakuja usiku, amesongesha mawe yake. Ukuja si mawe, wewe angalia penye mawe iko bana. Walikuwa wanaiba mashamba. So there is no corruption that can gain you wealth. It is a trap. Change your values, accept. Nasema, do not or encroach on the land of the fatherless, for their defender is strong and he will take up their case against you. So kuna watu wanaibia orphans. Umejua, let's say for example, an orphan amepewa shamba ya ancestral na anahitaji fees. So anataka kuuza, unamfinya. Hiyo shamba unajua value yake ni 300,000, but unajua ako very desperate. Sasa mimi nakupea 70. Chukua mawache. Umemfinya. Mungu anasema hapa, their father, God, will come against you. So quick and easy money has no value. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 21. 20:21. Utasoma hiyo at your own time. 20 verse 21 inasema, inheritance quickly gained at the beginning will not be blessed at the end. So when you rush into gaining money, it has no value to you. And finally, Proverbs chapter 1 verse 10 to 19. Proverbs chapter 1 verse 10 to 19. My son, the Lord is advising you, if sinners entice you, do not give in to them. So when sinners wamekutempt, usigive in to them. Verse 11. Anasema, if they say, come along with us, let us lie in wait for someone's blood. Let us waylay some harmless soul. Tuende tuchape mtu ngeta, tuibie mtu. Let us swallow them alive like the grave and whole like those who go down to the pit. Verse 13. We will get all sorts of valuable things. Tukigonga wase, nasema mazee hapa kuna deal. Tunaweza make money. Fill our houses with plunder. And 11 verse 14. Throw your lot with us and we will share a common past. Tuta make you deal. That's what anawaambia. Verse 15. My son, do not go along with them. Do not set your foot on their paths. Verse 16. For their feet rush into sin. They are swift to shed blood. 17. How useless to spread a net in full view of all the birds. 18. Finally, these men lie in wait for their own blood. They waylay their own selves. Finally, number 4. Crowd mentality and hysteria. Hii sita emphasize a lot. You know this. So you know peer pressure. Na mass hysteria. Mass hysteria ni kama venye Paul alikuwa attacked in Ephesus. Watu walikuja pamoja wakasema Paul ana attack Diana, wakaamua kumwattack hata wajui chenye wanafanya. That is mass hysteria. This is, for example, challenges, social media challenges. Mmeona hizo? Social media challenges. Kila mtu tu ni Jerusalem. Ni wana flow na what is happening. What is trending. Also hashtags na hizo vitu zote. And then you find also pressure inducing posts. Umeenda mko kwa pool mahali Diani, unapiga picha tu, see what your money can do for you, and then unapost. Mtu anawashwa anasema mimi pia lazima niende Diani. Ulifikaje huko? Kuna sponsore naweza kukupangia hii maneno. So those are the things that they induce certain pressure. It's heavy in our time. Kuna vitu hata zina influence the kind of behavior that people have. Why? Because once they see it, they believe that huyo mtu ana have a good life. Kila siku akona pombe ameinua na sigara. Huyu jamaa ana enjoy life. Because they make it in such a way that they draw your attention to it. Pressure inducing lifestyle. Let's see. Solomon an advice, independent thinking. You have the ability of stepping away from the crowd. Kila mtu anaenda hivyo Jerusalem anasema mimi naenda mimi nipungue, wewe uongezeke. Unaenda nifinyange. Unaenda opposite direction from the entire crowd. That's what Solomon and I advocate for. Proverbs chapter 14 verse 15. Proverbs 14 verse 15. Proverbs 14 verse 15. Anasema, a simple man believes anything, but a prudent man gives thought to his steps. How many of you carefully watch over what they are? Unajua Paul anaambia Timothy a very interesting advice. Anasema, watch carefully your teaching and your lifestyle. Carefully. Do you sit in the evening useme by the venye nilijibu ule mtu haikuwa sawa? I should have done better. Do you ever sit down and judge your heart and yourself? Anasema, any man who gives thought to their ways is prudent. You watch over your steps. So you are able to get out of the crowd and have a alone time. Useme, kesho sitaenda na hiyo crowd. Jana tulikuwa tunarusha mamawe. Kesho siendi. You're able to evaluate. Those are values. And then also, Proverbs chapter 22 verse 3. Proverbs chapter 22 verse 3. Then I will finish. A prudent man sees danger and takes refuge, but a simple man keeps going and suffers for it. Sasa wewe unaweza ona nikiendelea na hii path I will harm myself. Though everyone is doing it, I'm not going to be part of them. You are able to reflect and be able to judge self. That is what is able to get you from that. Remember, when you get to the youthful, unatoka from the control of your parent, especially from teenage, and now at the young adult stage, you want a sense of belonging. So be keen in the kind of community you are part of. If you're not keen, you will fall into a trap. What the entire world is going into. Your dressing will change. Your poses ukipiga picha ita change. Unajua hizo poses zenye una face away from the camera na unainua mguu moja. Your poses will change because you want to flow with what the community is doing. Finally, rebellion from the conventional, or running away from what is conventionally wisdom. This is basically, hii last step, ni basically to rebel from authority. You don't want to flow with authority. So you want to have your own way. Ujui, unaambia your parents, ujui bwana. We are young. The life has changed. Hizo vitu ziliwork at your time. So you want to go your own way. Rather, Solomon advocates for humility and submission to counsel. Ability yawe kuhumble, useme enyewe mimi nilizaliwa tu juzi. Na huyu jamaa ameishi hapa for some time. So you have wisdom. Ability to listen. Proverbs, I will rush this. Proverbs chapter 15 verse 22. Proverbs 15:22. Proverbs 15:22. A plan fails for lack of counsel, but with many advisors they succeed. So for example, when I was young, I said one day naenda kununua ile building refu Nairobi. Unajua nilikuwa na watch a lot. Nilikuwa na watch movie gani hizo days? Kuna another movie nilikuwa na watch nikasema hata mimi naenda kununua a very tall building Nairobi. Kasema nitaamka hapa next year. Nitaanza kudig mahali nitapata gold na nitanunua shamba. So unajua right now you can laugh but your time nilikuwa naona ni reality because nimeona kwa movie ina work. So Solomon anasema chukua hiyo plan yako, pelekea watu wenye wame go through that path. Watakwambia bwana life haiko hivyo. For you to get to that stage, these are the things you need. So some of you, for example, are looking for career. Let's say, for example, study, ama you are studying or something. The best way to be able to do it is get someone who has gone ahead in that line. Anaweza kukuguide akikwambia, right now, umefanya, let's say, for example, umefanya economics. Atakwambia ukiangalia online jobs za economics ni kidogo. Labda ni Ministry of Treasury, ama ni UN watakuhaya. However, with economics uko na vitu zinaitwa transferable skills. You can be able to work same economics uende ufanye statistics things, ufanye data analytics things. This is someone who is opening your horizon. You can see beyond what is limited. So instead ya wewe kutafuta tu a certain kind of job, ana open many other options. Atakwambia sasa chukua CV yako uandike in a way yenye ina line na these jobs. So languages, instead ya kuandika I am good at analyzing macroeconomic environment, utaandika hapo I am good at analyzing data, so that uweze kupata hiyo. It's counsel. The ability ya kuhumble. Young people are struggling with it. Ability ya kuhumble to see those who have gone ahead gives you a lot of success. Continue. Proverbs chapter 12 verse 15. Proverbs chapter 12 verse 15. Proverbs 12 verse 15. It says, the way of the fool seems right to him, but the wise man listens to advice. Your ability ya kunyamazisha. Uko na kitu inakuwasha, mimi nataka kufanya hii, unanyamazisha, unasema, by the way unasema, alafu unaichukua unasema, nikiongeza hii hapa, ina make sense, zita align, okay. Nitatoa hii. That ability is wisdom. Listening to advice. It's very important. It helped me a lot, especially, when I came to Divine Worship Ministry. Apostle used to do meetings zenye zilikuwa zinaitwa singles. So in singles meeting, sisi tulikuwa already in our mind, kuna a perception, marriage is an obstacle to progress. Tulikuwa tusha take you in our mind. So when tukakuja hapo, Apostle akaanza kutufunza. Akatuonyesha the way, when you marry, it opens doors. Scriptural perspective. It started changing my view. Nasema, the longer you take, na una date, the risk of falling into sexual immorality. So slowly by slowly, advice inaingia, naanza kuchange values, perspective. So the way I approached relationship was different from the way nilikuwa naifanya kwa dunia. Because my values had shifted. Advice makes you wise. I will not belabor on that. The feeling that usually goes against authority and advice is the feeling of freedom. I want to do what I want. Please note, freedom is not the ability to do what you want. Freedom is the ability to do what is right. That's freedom. Sasa ukiwa na hiyo power ya kusema sitatenda dhambi, you are free. But when dhambi inakulidi cha kufanya, you are not free. It's a lie. So if you really want to be free, be wise. So that you can make judgment alone without supervision. Sawa sawa. And that is through listening to counsel. So I'll stop it there. I will finish with these 4 questions. So how do we make the book of Proverbs applicable to us? Number 1, what do you internally enjoy dwelling on? Internally, what do you enjoy dwelling on? Ukinyamaza hivi, I want us to all close our eyes. Na si ya kulala, just close your eyes. When you meditate and you think, what do you enjoy dwelling on? When you build ideas in your mind, when you are constantly thinking about things, ni nini unapenda kujenga kwa kichwa yako? Oh, so you can open your eyes. So go and reflect. Whenever you catch yourself in a thought, ni nini una enjoy? What do you enjoy building your mind on? That speaks a lot. Proverbs says, chapter 4, verse 23 says that guard your heart with all due diligence. Because from it, every issue of life flows from there. When you keep on meditating on unakula raha by sexual immorality, you imagine that that is the height of life. You are going to act on it. When you think that kukunywa na kulewa is what makes sense, that is what you're going to do. Same proverb says, 23 verse 7, as a man thinketh, so he is. So watch carefully the meditations of your heart. Carefully. Watch them. And do you know what feeds the meditation of your mind and your heart? The food you take in. The what you watch. Not literal food, by the way. Unajua mtu anadhani, nikikula ugali bana nafikiria hizi mama kuanzia leo ugali. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what goes into your mind. Whether it is music, whether it is movies, conversations, or readings, those are the things that define your internal state. So be careful. It will either feed the spirit or the flesh. Number 2, what is the most important thing to you? What do you value the most? The most important thing to you. Because values are the basis of your choices. Your values are the basis of your choices. If you imagine, as long as I make quick money, I will be successful. That is your belief of success. Corruption is not something you will even think twice. Utaifanya without blinking. Your values influence your choices. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 17. You can project it. Proverbs 20, 17. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 17. Food gained by fraud tastes sweet to her. In that instant, it feels good, but he ends up with a mouthful of gravel. So ukiiba kitu, it looks that it's good at that moment, but it only, in a long time, destructive to you. Number 3, what do you spend your time and energy on? These are questions you need to ask yourself. Ni nini una spend your time and energy on it? Remember, the Bible says that young people are strong. You have energy. Where do you expend it? Unaispend wapi? The energy you have. Proverbs chapter 2, verse 1 to 5, Solomon anasema, spend it on seeking knowledge and wisdom. Because ultimately, it will lead you to the mouth of God. Because wisdom comes from the lips of God. If you read that verse. So anasema, my son, if you accept my words and stop my commands within you. Verse 2. Turning your ear to wisdom and applying your heart to understanding. Verse 3. If you call out to insight and you cry aloud, meaning you are desperate for it. Verse 4. If you look for it as for silver and search for it as for hidden treasure, the way unatafuta pesa, you make that commitment, then you will understand the fear of God. So unless you expend your energy on that, casual knowledge of God. Number 4, what company do you keep? Company you keep. You've ever heard as iron sharpens iron? You've ever heard of that verse? Iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. If you are an iron, usiende spend time na kuni, you will not be sharpened. Utakuwa blanked after some time. Go and spend time with iron, like-minded people. Friendship is very important. One of these days, maybe we could be able to share on that. You will realize that the kinds of friends you keep heavily shape the kind of person you become. Actually, sociology wamefanya hii study, discover that parenting is not the only factor in the outcome of a child. They have discovered even environment plays a big role. So where a parent chooses to live with a child determines the kind of friends they will have ultimately. So it shapes your perspective. That's the weight of friendship. Similarly, you'll notice in the Bible, most of the Bible people are not lone rangers. Wachana na labda akina Elijah alikuwa anapenda ni lone ranger. But majority of them were group. Look at Daniel. Alikuwa na Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego. Jesus alikuwa na John, James and Peter. Paul alikuwa na Silas, wakawachana na Barnabas before that. Friendship plays a big role. If you realize, I want to become prayerful, build friendship with people who are prayer-minded. I want to learn more about the word, build friendship with people who encourage you in that pattern. Ukikuwa around, ukitaka kukua, I want to be sexually immoral and adulterer. You see the kind of people you will lean towards. Actually, friendship is good assessment of the kind of person you are. Inakuonyesha the quality you are when you assess your friends. Angalia tu by the James ni mwizi. Peter anaibaga vitu pia. Angalia na ule jamaa si ni mlevi. You will know who the kind of person you are. Because those are the things that you love marinating on. Also, you can see this in Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20. Sema, he who walks with the wise does what? But a companion of fools suffers harm. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 5. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 5. 27. Better is an open rebuke than hidden love. Verse 6. Wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies. So this is one verse that teaches you about friendship. Any person who tells you the truth is a good friend to keep. Mtu mwenye atakwambia, Michelle, unakuaga una curse a lot. That's someone who is good. And someone ndo anaona anasema hapo, mtu mwenye anakupapasa. An enemy multiplies kisses. Anataka tu kukupapasa, anakuficha. Ukifanya vibaya, mpaka conscience yako inakwambia by the way umefanya vibaya, unaona tu wachana, hakuna haja. Usikuwe na shaka. An enemy multiplies kisses. So be careful of the kind of friends you keep. And if you're a friend to someone, honor your ability to say the truth to them will show you the amount of inaitwa social capital uko nayo in that friendship. If you shy away, it means you are being changed. The minute unaona amefanya makosa and you have fear in your heart to speak truth, wewe ndo unabadilika, wewe ndo unachangiwa. Because the other person has created an environment that makes you shy away from who you really are. Sawa. I want you to take note of that. So when you read Proverbs, I will finish. I pray you will become wise and people of godly character. Remember, there are two natures fighting within you. Now, the world around you emphasize one nature, the folly. But you have a choice to make to either become wise or foolish. Decide wisely. So, I will stop it there. I was given 30 minutes to ask a question. Mr. Ingi, is that right? Yes. So that niwapatie nafasi ya kuuliza maswali. Isikue ni lecture. Ikue ni engagement. So I think for the sake of online people, we can stop it there to focus on, unless mnachukua ma question online, we focus on local people. Thank you for those who have been watching us online. Mungu awabariki. So, local, is there any question? Or should I be asking you questions?